everybody, it's Romania Black, and we're on episode 6 of Blue Lock. And you may be wondering why I'm not wearing a sports anime jersey today, and that's because it's freaking cold outside. It's so cold. It was so cold today, and I was like, no, I can't do it. And so we talked last episode about how the creator of Blue Lock was an assistant to Isayama who created Attack on Titan. So I figured that this would be appropriate to pay homage and support both. So that should be fine. So I don't know if I'm going to be wearing sports jerseys from here on in, because I tried one on today and I was walking around my house and I was like, it is cold. No, thank you. So, but that's fine, because you know what's going to warm us up? Some Blue Lock, because we've beaten Team Y. Huzzah! Isagi's been reborn, supposedly. Huzzah! And we learned a little bit more about Chigiri. Learned what's up with him. There's still a lot of mystery with this character, but we know more about him. We're also about to face Team W, so that should be a fun time. It's basically you have two teams who have everything to lose. You have Team W and Team Z, who both have won a game and lost a game. So this game is going to be pretty important. And I don't know how it's going to shape out. I don't know what we're going to do with it. You know, it's going to be interesting to see what ends up happening. Team V is the team to beat, because they're like the best team so far in the bracket. But Ego did say the top two teams would advance to the next place. So do I think they're going to beat Team V? No. I don't think they're going to beat Team V. No. But do I think they could be possibly the second team? Maybe. The question is going to be if Isagi figures out like how to use his technique, his like future sight that he has, and to be able to use it in conjunction with the other strikers on his team. And so that's going to be really interesting to see how it goes down and how it takes place. But we'll see. I do have some comments to go before we start though. Hollowick talked about how Henri's character might be named after Thierry Himy, who is a French player, which I thought was pretty cool. I was like, that's neat. As well as Zahir 1116 said that in 2022, that's when the series wrapped up, and during the World Cup, it was won by Messi. So even though Ego says Messi hasn't won a World Cup yet, technically after the fact, now he has. So look at that. It was Blue Lock that gave him the power to do so. Seppi says back in episode 3, Isagi was hit by Kunigami's ball and kick that he struck in the tag game at the very beginning of the series. So he knew when he was deciding who to pass it to that Kunigami had the strength to make the goal, and that could have instinctually helped him to make that decision in episode 3 when they were facing against Team Y. So I thought, or Team X. So I thought that was really good. Thought that was neat. Gin talks about how Nico's VA from episode 4 and 5 is the same one as Tanjiro from Demon Slayer, as well as Vanitas from the case of Vanitas. And they also, it was noted by Wim, along with this, that they have the same VA as the Shark Fiend in Chainsaw Man, Haruichi in Ace of the Diamond, and Falco from Attack on Titan. So look at them getting all the VA credit, you know. And then finally, Wim talked about counter is a term in soccer that is when the defending team regains possession of the ball and transitions from defense to offense to try to score before the other team can react. That's what a counter is, which is good to know. And then I like the idea Wim pointed out of Raichi possibly being a tsundere. I've given Raichi a really hard time because I've said in the comments I'm not really into like shouty, arrogant characters. Like if it's a sunshine boy that's really like loud and upbeat and positive, I can deal with that. But if it's just somebody that's like, why is things the way that they are? Blah, blah, blah. I'm not into that type of, I'm not a Candy Muse fan. And Raichi is like the Candy Muse of Blue Lock. So I'm like, ugh. But maybe knowing that he could possibly be a tsundere, maybe I will grow to like him. And I like that Wim pointed out that I made the comparison to Bakugo from My Hero Academia. Wim was like, to them, Raichi's more of like Inosuke from Demon Slayer. And that made so much sense because I am not normally an Inosuke fan. When the series started out, I did not like Inosuke at all. I was like, no, they're loud, they're obnoxious, don't like this character. They seem counterintuitive to whatever Tanjiro was trying to do in the series. But I will say, without spoiling anything, as the series went on, I did appreciate Inosuke more. They opened up and there was more layers to their characters. So I'm like, okay, maybe Raichi will do the same. We'll see. We'll see. But I liked that comparison, right? That was really nice. So we talked about how these voice actors could voice Haruichi from Ace of the Diamond and all of this. Speaking of Ace of the Diamond, it would not be an episode of Blue Lock if I didn't give a shameless plug to my favorite sports anime. So, hey everybody, it's Romania Black, and in Blue Lock, there's always a risk that you could be betrayed by your fellow teammate, which could screw up the entire chances for you and your teammates to advance in the Blue Lock process. You know what sports anime doesn't involve betrayal within its own team? All of them. But you know what especially doesn't involve betrayal in its own team? Ace of the Diamond. Yes, in this anime, there are no fucking traitors, and everyone ends up working together towards a common goal, because if you betray your teammates, you lose, and that's not good for anyone. So, if you're tired of seeing traitors in your sports anime, you could watch any other sports anime, literally, but especially, you should probably watch Ace of the Diamond. Now, back to the reaction. Someone commented if I was just going to keep reusing some of the ads after a while. I don't want to do that. I want to create new ads every week, so we'll see how creative I can get, right? Right? I usually record them after this episode is over so I can tie in something from the plot. So if some rando is just watching these Ace of the Diamond ads, they're going to be like, what's the show about? So it's a dual purpose thing. It's getting people interested in both Blue Lock and Ace of the Diamond simultaneously. Maybe. But I'm ready to start this episode. I hope you all are too. I want to give a very quick shout out over to our Patreon philanthropy tier, to thank all of you on YouTube who subscribe and watch my videos, to thank everybody on Patreon who donates any amount of money to help me do what I love doing, but especially to the philanthropy tier on Patreon, because they are amazing and go above and beyond each month when they don't have to, but I'm so, so grateful. So a special shout out to Edgar, to Dana, to Alex Cornejo, to Be Happy, to Kiri, to Tyrone, to Anime Annie, to Eric, to Sunspots, to Translucent Min, to Shimoyama, to Nameless Monster, to Anna, to Goob, to Matthew Palfinier, to Ash You Got Snow Bitches, as well as Trails, Zakiel, Sack, and Destiny Marie. Thank you all so much for supporting me. I greatly appreciate it. All of my love. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm ready to see what this episode holds in store for us. We've just come off of a win, but that usually, if sports anime has taught me anything, coming off of a win can be good or it can be bad. You can either be trepidatious or you can get kind of cocky and then it comes back to bite you in the ass. And in this series, you don't got time to be cocky and get bit in the ass, because then you're gone. So what do we do with that, right? But we'll just have to see. So we're going to start I almost said Ace of the Diamond. We're going to start Blue Lock, episode 6. And we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1. And let's do it to it, y'all. Baby, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Oh my God. Kuon. Touche show. Touche. I had mine, like, I wondered at some point if, like, when things got down to the wire, if teammates would start turning on teammates, and I had in mind characters I thought that would turn on other characters, like Becky with the good hair. What's his face? The two boys that I'm not good with their names. They have brown hair. It's like Imamura and Nayahama, Nayamea, maybe. But those two, I was like, those two. But then the one with the crazy hair, Narumaya, or whatever his name is, he's really close to Gin, and I don't see Gin being like a turncoat. So Gin seems pretty like loyal based. So I was like, maybe not him, but I thought like Becky with the good hair would be like one to turn on the team. Maybe they seem kind of like they would. They seem kind of like, I don't know, like they would do that. But Kuon? Sweet sinner Kuon? No, it was an act. It was all an act to lure in their trust. And then he was going to be, oh my God, he's the Veruca Salt of this series. And then there's ego like Willy Wonka being like, he was a bad egg. Is what I think is going to go down. Because here's the thing. Obviously, I don't think our team is going to lose. Now, I think they're going to win against Team W. I do. Now, do I think they're going to beat Team V? No. But only the top 2 teams need to go through. So let's talk about that real quick before we dive any further in this. I am flabbergasted that Kuon is the betrayer. I mean, this series puts me on edge and gives me so much anxiety because they're like, we're going to win. We're going to do it. And I'm like, every sports animator has told us, don't say that. It's the biggest jinx. It means something bad's going to happen. But things were going really well. And I was like, okay, well, where's the catch? Because they're not just going to win this game in an episode. That'll be like really anticlimactic. And then you get that and it's like, oh my God. So like, unless Kuon is like the biggest double crosser, like triple agent, which I don't think he is, I don't know, y'all. We're going to talk about this because it's got some implications. It has some implications. So here is the bracket so far. Here is the bracket so far. I love that I spent like 20 minutes last episode breaking this down, and this episode starts with giving us the handy dandy chart. I'm like, how dare. So Team V has 2 wins. And their wins are over Team W and Team Y, right? Then we have Team W, who has 1 win over Team X, right? They beat Team X 1-4. Okay. Then we have Team X. Team X only has 1 win, which is... But here's the problem with that. They only have 1 win, but it is over Team Z. They have lost twice already, so which is not a good sign. So then we have Team Y, who only has 1 win, and they only won against Team X. Okay, and then we have Team Z, who has, let me get on here. We have Team Z, who has 1 win so far, and it is over Team Y. So everybody's kind of in the same boat here. The only problem is the team with losses. V has 0 losses. W only has 1 loss. Z only has 1 loss. Y has 2, and X has 2. So, if you're only taking the top 2 teams, then really Team Z needs to win this one so it guarantees itself in the 2nd place spot, because I don't think they're going to beat Team V. Nah. It's either going to go one of 2 ways. Either they're going to lose this game and face Team V and somehow pull it out and manage, but even then, if they... Let's say they do win against TV and they have 2 wins, but Team W has 2 wins too. So then it's like, So they really need to beat Team W to pull this out. They need to beat Team W to have a shot at being in the top 2 teams. That's what they really need to do, right? And then it's going to be a free-for-all, because if they lose, then it's a free-for-all between W, Y, and X to see which team is going to possibly, but... Yeah, because they only have 1 win each. So yeah, it needs to be, because yeah, what'll happen is if Team V, secures, if Team Z has 2 wins going up against Team V, then what are we going to do here? Are they going to beat this team, beat that team? Like what? I don't know. Basically, X and Y are kind of screwed at this point, but I don't know. The way that this works out could go in a lot of different directions. Basically, nothing is secured except Team V is probably okay. I would say Team V will probably be fine. If Team X loses to Team V, then they are going to be out. And I'm going to say that Barrow is going to get through, which that seems likely, right? Because he's played by Swabi. Swabi ain't playing no side gig, right? That seems like a thing. And plus, it shows him going against Kunagi in the OP, which I'm hoping Barrow sticks around, right? Then you have Team Y. Team Y has only won against Team Y has only won against Team X, but I don't think they're going to beat W, and they won't beat Team W, so they're probably going to be out. And then who was Y's person? It was Okawa. Okawa will probably come from that team. So then it comes down to, the crazy thing is that if The crazy thing is, if Team W doesn't advance, then the brothers will be split up because the brothers are the top scorers. So if they lose, that means the twins will be split up and it will only be one of them, which would be very interesting. I don't know what to make about that. But so basically we're gonna assume our 2 scorers here. So now it's just down to, okay, well, what do we do here? I don't know. And right now, the top scorer for Team Z, your Team Z top scorer is Kuon. But here's the double-edged sword about it all, right? Because I think that what's going to happen is those top scorers that were very egotistical, however you want to put it, that made it from their teams, they're going to have to integrate into these teams that moved on, right? They're going to have to become players in the teams that moved on. So, and get added to the mix, probably, somehow or some other way. They're going to have to get added in somehow, right? Or they're going to form their own team. Let's think of it this way. If we have 2 teams, we have 2 teams and 3 extras. So we have 22 from each group. And then we have times 5 different divisions. So there's 15 players. They're going to be coming from the top scorers of the teams that lost. So the question is going to be, are they going to mix and match the teams after that? Are they going to take, and then times 5, are they going to take all these extra players and mix and match? Or are they going to put like the 22, are they going to put 25 together and have them rotate players in and out? I don't know. But the problem is, no matter what happens, Kuon is a traitor. And Kuon sold his team out to benefit himself. The problem is, and I think that what Ego's getting, Ego's going to be curious to see what happens with this, is, okay, well, you're eventually going to have to work on a team, whether you like it or not. Do you think your team that you end up with is going to pass you when word gets out that you're a traitor? No, they're not. They're going to like shun you. So it's this weird thing. Like if Team Z manages to win, now we have this dynamic where Kuon, who is like our strategist, who is our center, he's proven that he is not reliable. So he's going to have to get shunned and like put to the side and be like, look, we're not working with you because you tried to screw us over. So that's going to be interesting. That is going to be interesting to see, what do we do about this? How do we handle this with you? Because here's the thing. Yes, the top scorers, the top scorer position, like it seemed like a reward, like, oh, these teams didn't make it, but you were the top scorer. You were a striker that was worthy. So it's almost like Ego's like, I want to reward you for your prowess and your endeavors. Your team didn't make it, but you were striving to do excellence. So I'm going to let you stay, even though your teammates are going to go, right? Which would make sense for Baro and Okawa, right? They're strong strikers. They could probably stay. I mean, obviously Baro over Okawa because Okawa was going under Nico, but regardless. So there's that. But with Kuon, knowing that he tricked, his teammates and was working with the other team, how is that going to be viewed, right? Is that a sign of a strong striker or somebody that's just doing underhanded things? That's the difference, right? I think Ego respects people like Baro and Okawa who are good strikers. They were just not placed on a dependable team of stronger players that could match up, whereas Kuon is being deceptive. And Kuon is working with the enemy. And in a real life scenario, that's not going to happen. You're not going to go to the other team in a national championship game and get something like that orchestrated. So I'm going to be very curious to see how Ego responds to this. Hell, he may do nothing. Ego may be like, that's the way the cookie crumbles. Welcome to Blue Lock. Oh, well. But I don't think that Kuon has won any brownie points in Ego's eyes at all. I feel like in the game of Willy Wonka, Ego's looking at Kuon like Veruca Salt being like, you're not going to be the one to get the lucky golden ticket because you were deceptive. But we'll go through the episode and kind of see what we do with that. I thought going into this episode that Kuon was sick. I thought that Kuon was going to get sick and not be able to play either this game or the next game. I thought it was like going to be a foreshadowing that Kuon wasn't feeling good and he was either going to collapse during this game and they would be like, oh no, we only have 10 players to play. Or he was going to be okay, and then when we face Team V, he was going to be down and out for the count. Hell, after this, they may tie him up and be like, we don't need him. Put him aside. I don't know. I feel like if they win this game, there's going to be like a come to Jesus meeting with Kuon, and they're all going to be like, Now, what were we doing? I want to apologize right now to Raichi. I want to take this time and apologize to Raichi because I got very mad at him in this episode. And then when Kuon did the Caesar-esque betrayal that he did, I was like, well, you know what, Raichi? I'm not so mad at you now. I understand you're yelling at this point. That's fine. So apologies to Raichi. I'm sorry I did you dirty this episode. No offense. I love that on Discord, people have been doing like the sleepy Bachara counter where there's all these little pictures of Bachara being asleep. I kind of love that because Bachara is like this instinctual player that no matter what happens, no matter what plans they come up with, Bachara is like, I'm just going to play soccer and do my thing, and you guys can keep up or not keep up. I think that's what's going to end up happening. I think that there's going to be a little bit of confusion next episode where everybody's like, what do we do? Raichi's probably going to yell obnoxiously. But then Bachara is going to be like, let's just play. And him and Kunigami and Isagi are going to be like, fine, let's go. And get Gin involved. And then Chigiri. I think Chigiri is going to shine next episode because I think Chigiri is going to prove that last shot of Chigiri looking at Isagi. We'll talk about it in a minute, but it's that look was a oh, I'm going to prove myself look is what that was. But we'll see. This series has surprised me a lot, so I don't know what to do with it. And Chigiri is just being the most tsundere throughout most of this, being like, oh, I don't know. I'm not being affected by the Nakama. It's like you are. Again, Bachara is being quiet throughout most and sleepy throughout most of this meeting. With Lemon, I've had so many people tell me in the comments, they're like, it's Iman, not Lemon. And I'm like, I know, but I really like the nickname Lemon and I want to keep it. So we're just going to call him Lemon. It's fine. But yeah, so Kuon coming back late from his bath. Oh my gosh. Just didn't see it coming. And then I like that Bachara's been the one asleep the whole time, but they're the first person that knows that Kuon's back. And Kuon like stumbles in being like, oh, I spent too long in the bath when it was overdoing it and he was going to tell the other team. Oh my God. Yeah, they planned this all out. And everybody was like giving him telling him to be, it's okay about your lame dad names. It's fine. And they kept Lemon as the goalie because he's not a very good goalie. I'm like, what, excuse me? I'm just like, I'm so flabbergasted that Kuon betrayed them like so easily. And I do like that Chigiri is just like, whatever you say, I'm not going to become your teammate and blah, 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 blah. I like that Bachara looks over, like Bachara's like, did you guys have a talk? Is something happening? I feel like Bachara is like always on Isagi and like observing him. So when he notices that him and Chigiri have a moment, Bachara's like, what does this mean? So I feel like Bachara's going to try to get Chigiri to come over to the team, right? Oh my God. Like it's all like everybody kind of cheers except Isagi and Chigiri and all of them. I am so floored, y'all. I'm just amazed. So then we have the two brothers, right? The two brothers. And Chigiri kind of knew what they were getting up against, right? They kind of knew. But then we have these two brothers. Where's their names? They're like Watagiri or something. They're kind of ridiculous. Where are they at? Oh my God. You ready, bro? And the other one's like, there's a character in Kuroko's basketball named Matobe who doesn't speak. And that seems to be like him. They are the most ridiculously designed. This feels like a JoJo's character. I don't know. When the one brother has the alligator like buzzed into his head and the other brother's eye. How do you shape your eyebrows like alligators? How do you do that? What? Just ridiculous. Just the most ridiculous. But they work together in tandem and they're pretty effective. And I like that this entire time Isagi is telling Chigiri, being like, look, the past is the past. You can't go back to what happened back then. You can only move forward. Like, quit focusing on your leg. Yes, it was hurt and that's scary, but if you're going to be here, be here. And if not, then leave. He's like, if you're not, he's like, clearly you are here because you want to be and you want to keep playing soccer. So don't give up on it, okay? And of course, these guys, I was expecting like a flashback between the brothers and Chigiri, and maybe we'll get that next episode or not, but they were teammates that were with them. Apparently not very good teammates because they trash talk him a lot and call him like the genius with the glass leg. Now, that gives me hope because Chigiri being the genius with the glass leg suggests that Chigiri might be a strategist. And if Kuon has betrayed us and Kuon is no longer a viable option for strategy, maybe Chigiri will step up and start to strategize and prove their worth. Maybe, but they say all these mean things to try to get in Chigiri's head, and Asagi's like, just quit paying attention. He's like, you're Chigiri Hyoma of Team Z now. You're not from wherever they're from. Don't worry about it. Like, he gives the big speech from the sports anime, and Chigiri's like, I don't want to be on your side yet. Damn it. Like, come on. I always get Yu Yu Hakusho vibes looking, because Chigiri looks like Kurama and Asagi looks like Yusuke, so it's fun. He's like, and I like that Asagi's like, look, I don't have any accolades. I'm no genius with whatever leg. He's like, I didn't come here with any type of merits. I just want to play soccer, and Blue Lock is giving me a chance to prove myself. So it'd be real nice if you helped us, since you're here and you clearly want to be, for whatever your personal vendetta is. But yeah, Chigiri is also extremely good looking in this episode. They like animate him amazingly. Or maybe it's just because we cut to the brothers and they're so not attractive that it makes Chigiri look even more attractive. I don't know. They're just both like, they look like the Onigi of like mythology. They look like demons, like with the way that their eyes are really big and just the way that they're designed, right? And so what's interesting is that Bachira kind of figures it out from the beginning that something is up with Kon, right? Bachira kind of figures it out, because the first time that Kon takes a shot from so far away, Bachira is like, you're really taking a shot from that far away? That seems like a big gamble. Which it doesn't now, because they promised him they'd let him have the 3 shots, so he knew he was safe. I feel like Bachira was going to be like, yeah, I suspected him, but wasn't going to say anything, but now we got to work past it. Interesting, right? It's a nice foreshadowing there. And Asagi just thinks that Kon's on fire and that it's great, but nope. And so I don't even think the first half is over at the end of this episode. I think it's just the first 45-minute look, right? And Bachira gets the free kick and takes it to Kon, who manages to get it. Yep. The first halftime. Okay. 45 minutes and halftime. So yeah, the first 45 minutes, I want to see how much time they have left when they get done. So then we go to Ego watching them. And it's like, I like that Henri's like, well, I didn't notice him. He's pretty amazing, isn't he? And Ego sees right through it. He has the classic Gendo glasses where you can't see through the glasses to see what he's thinking. But Ego is not impressed with Kon. I think Ego is not happy that Kon was deceptive against his team, right? Because Ego is looking for people that are naturally talented and have the potential to lead their team to victory. What Kon is doing is not leading his team to victory. It's kicking his team out to benefit himself. But that's not egoistical, that's egotistical. That is being an egotist instead of an egoist. And that's not what Ego wants. He wants somebody to elevate Japan soccer, not manipulate their way to the top. So I don't know. Maybe Ego will kick him out. Maybe at the end of this, Ego's like, bye. And he'll give him one of the team members from the 3 that stay. Maybe Baro will join the team. I would love if Baro would join the team. That'd be amazing. Or maybe Oikawa will join the team. Maybe he'll do one of those things, right? I don't know. But if Kon was kicked out, I wouldn't be surprised. If after this first selection is done, if Kon was kicked out for bad behavior and for like co-conspiring with another team, I wouldn't be surprised. But I also wouldn't be surprised if Ego left him around. I don't know how they're going to handle this if they win and Kon has to stay. They're going to like tie him up and put him in a broom closet. I don't know. But that's not cool. And you could tell like Ego, if Ego was on board with it, you'd see him like smiling even if the glasses were hiding his face. He's not smiling here. He's like, like, oh, you're doing that, huh? Yeah. Ego's not about foul play, I don't feel. Ego's about like chaos. And if you're going to get to the top, do it. But he's not about like cheating and manipulating that way, right? And so, yeah. And plus, it makes sense now because we don't ever see Kon with his eyes open until we see him like betray them in this game. His eyes are never open until there. Can't trust a guy when you can't see the windows to his soul. Am I right? Oh my God. Crazy talk. And Asagi's like, man, we're doing real good. Chigiri's the only one that's thinking about things. Now, if Chigiri figures out from the start that something was up, He doesn't say anything, right? And Asagi tries to talk to him again, and Chigiri is just not saying anything about it, right? But by the end of this episode, the way that Chigiri looks at Asagi is just kind of like, man, you didn't give up, and you've been trying all this time, and you're still trying. You're not giving up even after you found out that they betrayed us. You're still trying to pull through. Damn. You know? Like one of those moments. It's really good. So, yeah. And then Raichi and them kick off, but Kuon messes up. And Isagi's like, what is going on? And Chigiri tries, but he's just one person, right? And then he passed it back, but it was shallow. So how much time was left when that one score was gold? Okay, there's only like maybe 10 minutes into it, right? And Raichi getting mad. I feel so bad. I give Raichi such a hard time because he was getting mad at Kuon, but now... And then when Kunagi's like, you didn't do it on purpose, it's like, but he did! And so now I feel bad for getting mad at Raichi because I was like, I shouldn't have done that. You were kind of right. And him saying he was sorry. Oh, that face. I'm going to take a screenshot of that real quick. That face of him just being like, damn, the monster. His is a deceptive monster. So 15 minutes have passed, and it's 2-3, right? And around that time, that's when Asagi starts to realize that could he have betrayed them? And the answer is yes, he did. He's like, are you betraying us? I love that. I love just how dramatic the animation gets and the shadows and the lighting, how dramatic it all gets. And everybody's just kind of looking at him. The tension in this episode, y'all. The tension. And then they're like, oh, they figured it out. I like Chigiri doesn't look surprised. But they're like, yeah, he met with us and sold you all out. And Bachira doesn't look surprised either. Bachira is just kind of like, And Raichi, of course, gets mad. And he's like, I'm just doing my best to survive. And you know what? I wish Raichi wouldn't punch him, but I kind of don't blame him. But it's not enough just to survive in this game. You have to move. You can't just survive. You've got to exceed, right? But, so it's almost at the 30-minute mark. So there's about 20 minutes left of this game. Now, granted, they're only up by 1 goal. So in 20 minutes, there's plenty of time to score 2 goals, I feel. Or at least tie the game. And he's like, you're the dumb ones. Oh my God. We're playing 12-10. And I love that Henri's like, well, this is not fair. Are you going to allow this, Ego? And Ego's like, just shut up and watch. I like that Ego's like, just wait and see what happens. He's like, what will you do, Team Z? Basically Ego's like, are you the team that I'm rooting for? Are you the underdogs I'm rooting for? Should I be rooting for you all? What are you all going to do here? Man. Damn. And then the reasoning that Kuon gives is that we're always walking a tightrope, which, fair. Yeah, they just now got into a rhythm somewhat, and they're not clean or polished at all. They are the weakest team. They just won against Team Y because Asagi's ability activated. But the thing about it is if Asagi gets just a little bit better, then they'll definitely have a chance. But Kuon has no faith in him that that's going to happen. So instead, he's like, I'm just going to be one of the top 3 players that makes it. Yep, he's like the special rule. The top 3 scores, I made a deal so that I can be one of them. Yep. So But the thing, I guess going into this, I thought that the top 3 scorers were just overall from the teams. I thought the top 3 scorers from the losing teams would advance, not 1 from each team. But if it's 1 from each team, then that makes sense for Okawa and Baro. But damn. And he's like, if you are your team's top scorer, you get to go to the next selection. And he's like, I'm glad you're all so gullible. This is Blue Lock. We don't need bonds or teamwork. What you need is enough ego to win. If you need to betray people to win, do it. That's what my ego says. But the thing about it is that there is no bonds or teamwork. It's all you becoming your own person. But you still need to do it fairly. And what he did wasn't fair. right? Wasn't fair. So maybe Ego's going to be fine with it. I don't know. But, and then when Isagi's like, damn it. And you can see how desperate Isagi looks in that moment. And how much he's like, oh, we can't let it end this way. What are we going to do? And Chigiri just has this look on his face like he doesn't want it to end for Isagi because Isagi's been pushing him along this whole time. So my only hope is that Isagi, that Chigiri ends up helping them to beat Kuon and the others and make it to where it works for them to move forward. But damn, I'm just floored, y'all. I am speechless. I am floored. And the way that Kuon talks, where he's like, yeah, they did talk about Blue Lock being, you need ego to be the best striker that you can be, right? But, here's the problem. If we're going to compare to RuPaul's Drag Race, right? There were queens that manipulated the system in terms of, rigging the votes, in terms of, deceiving people, forming alliances, things like that. Yes. But did those queens ever win overall? Nope. I think of a lot of All-Star seasons. In All-Stars, you have to vote people off, and people would form alliances, or they would pick off people to be selfish and serve their own agenda and be more egotistical than egoistical. And it was short-term a good idea, but long-term, the other queens would turn on them and be like, well, now that we can't trust you, bye. And so I feel like Kuon thinks this is a strategy to win, but I'm like, long-term, I don't think this is going to work for you. I don't think you're going to be able to manipulate your way to the top like this because nobody's going to pass the ball to you and nobody's going to trust you. Because what happens if he makes it? Let's say he made it to the next selection. And then the challenge was, there was a mini challenge of oh, you have to score the most goals. But everyone on your team knows that you can't be trusted and they don't pass you the ball. Or they're like, nope, bye. And they just take it away from you. Because Kuon is strong. Kuon's a good player, but I don't think he's as good as some of the others on Team Z. So I'm like, Botcher will just be like, well, I'm not passing to you again. Who knows what you'll do? Who knows if you've talked to the other team or not? Bye. And gives it to Isagi or somebody else. Or it could motivate the team knowing that Kuon is no longer someone they can rely upon or use as a crutch. Because they have been kind of relying upon Kuon a lot. And I didn't really realize it until this episode that, yeah, Kuon has been the one coming up with a lot of the plays, coming up with a lot of the strategy, and the team has kind of relied upon them. And that seemed fine until this episode, but now it's going to become apparent that, no, we can't rely upon Kuon anymore. We're going to have to come up with stuff on our own or in a different way and just push Kuon out to the side and be like, we can't trust you. Sorry. I don't know how, if they lose this game, I mean, I can't see Kuon advancing and not Isagi, right? Right? So I don't know how they're going to handle this. I can't see Team Z losing, because if they lose and Isagi leaves but Kuon becomes the main character, I can't picture that at all. But what I also cannot picture at all is if they win and Kuon isn't disqualified or whatever and has to stay on the team, that dynamic is going to be weird and awkward. So I don't know. And maybe Isagi will be like, hey, look, maybe Isagi will be like, you know what? You were doing right by you, and this is what you thought you had to do to win. Cool. But we're not going to pass to you anymore. So what about it? I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to wait to watch episode 7. I don't know if I'm going to be able to wait, y'all, to watch that episode. I just don't know. Right? We'll just have to see, won't we? So I'm really excited to know your thoughts down below. Real quick before we end this discussion, I want to go to the little after thing and talk about who's on Team Bread versus Team Rice, because that may have something to do later on with the series, right? So this one's called Traitor. Of course, it makes sense. We are the best breakfast. We are Team Bread. Oh my God. Okay, so Team Bread. I'll put them up here. Team Bread is Raichi, Isagi. Imamura is Becky with the good hair. There we go. And then Chigiri, who looks so cute, like they don't know why they're there. And then Igarashi. All right, that's Team Bread. And then we have Team Rice. Of course, it's 5 and 5. And then you have Cereal. Oh my God. Cereal is Cone. Damn. That's so hilarious. But then Team Rice. You got to have bread in the morning. And they're like, no, man, it's rice for the win. I am not surprised that Bachira and Gin are rice people. Not surprised at all. Then there's Kunigami. That makes sense. And then Aimon or Lemon. And then Naruhaya. There we go. Okay, of course, I think Naruhaya, though, is only rice because Gin likes rice. I think that's the only reason he's Team Rice. Is because Gin's on that team. So it may have been one-sided for Bread anyway. And then you have Cereal. I'm honestly Team Bread. I'm Team Bread. I liked whose reasoning was it of why was it Raichi's reasoning? Yeah, more variety. What did Raichi say? Yeah, I actually agree with Raichi on this one thing where he's like, you have rice for lunch and dinner, so obviously bread for breakfast. I actually agree with Raichi on that because I love having rice with lunch and dinner, but I'm not a morning rice person. It has to be bread or cereal, so... Oh my God. Can I cosplay as Cone the Traitor next week? Maybe. I feel kind of like I'm cosplaying as Cone right now. My hair is going to be cut after this, so I won't look like Cone anymore, but consider this my cosplay. But man, y'all, oh my God, so flabbergasted. So I don't know what to expect, y'all, but I'm curious to know your thoughts down below. I hope y'all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, we'll be back next week for the fun and excitement that is going to be Blue Lock Episode 7.